What's good? Welcome back to another edition of Dat Talk Podcast. I go by the name of Bacon. I got my co-host with me.
Back, baby. Man, a little spring hiatus, I guess you call that. You feel me? You know, we was out here doing life stuff, man.
Yes, we were.
Out here saving the world, one college student at a time.
Yeah.
Being a dad. So, you know, life took this course, man. But, you know, we brothers, so we right back where we need to be, man.
We're right back where we need to be. And Lord, did a whole lot of nonsense happen in sports, man. It's a lot to talk about. I know everybody been watching the March Madness. Shout out to everybody who did a bracket, even though my team is officially done. Shout out to everybody's out there who still got a chance. That'll be all right.
I still got a fighting chance. I got three of my four Final Four teams are still alive. So, you know, I'm just hoping that my bracket stays intact with that.
I definitely feel you. But you know who may be out of chances, and it's my man LaMelo Ball, who had a season-ending injury by fracturing his right wrist, or was it right or left wrist? Shooting wrist, right?
I think it was a shooting wrist.
His shooting wrist in a game, and now he's out indefinitely. And not only did my man Melo go out, the king of non-injuries, LeBron James. And this injury wasn't necessarily his fault, but he ended up getting hurt. My man, what's my name? Solomon Hill. Solomon Hill hurt my boy LeBron going for a loose ball. I don't know if he was really going for a loose ball or not. It didn't look like he was going for the loose ball. It looked like he was going for an ankle or two, but I'm not blaming it on you. I'm just saying. So what are your thoughts about these injuries from my man, the King and LaMelo?
Well, speaking of LaMelo, I was, on Twitter watching and paying attention. He had a successful surgery today. It's a chance he could be reevaluated in 4 weeks with the possibility of a return. So, with them reacting fast to the surgery and getting it done, you know how, it's better to be fractured than anything because bones heal relatively fast. You got to look at Karl Anthony Towns, because I think he was the last person. I think he had a fractured wrist recently also. And I think his timeline was 4 to 6 weeks perspective. So, Melo need to hurry up and get back because the Hornets is playing good basketball and they're currently a playoff team.
Yes.
But with the East not being super strong, I feel like they should be able to stay afloat and they'll be okay. Now with the Kang, it's just bad timing because there is no AD. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it, it's really only one team in the NBA that can survive with losing 2 stars. And that's the Nets, because they got 3. But anybody else, you take Luka and Porzingis off the Mavericks, you take CP3 and Devin Booker off the Suns. So you can go down a list of right now, because there's a dual superstar system going on. You take any 2 superstars off any team, and it's going to be problems, especially for a long stretch. You probably can last a game or 2. But it's just bad timing for the Lakers. They was already, iffy without AD, but they hit a stride coming out of All-Star break. Won the first 3, was looking good. LeBron was in go mode. You start to see him turn that corner, get in go mode. So I just hope, me knowing LeBron and paying attention to his career, he's not about to be out that long. I told people he's back April 10th. That's my, people say indefinitely. I say give it April 10th and LeBron will be back because A, he walked off on it. He didn't have to get carried off. And then B, he just traveled to Phoenix. So I think if he was in that grave deal of pain, he'd have just stayed home. But the fact that he went on the road with the boys, it shows his leadership, which is never questioned. And B, is bad, but it's probably not as bad.
Facts. Those are great, valid points, Reason. My thing was with the Hornets, I think they are in more trouble than the Lakers, in my opinion, because I feel like LaMelo was such a superstar for that team, and he was finding himself and finding his stride and finding his place in the league. He was on his pace to win Rookie of the Year, even though my man Anthony Edwards is balling in Minnesota.
Ant-Man, yeah, that's him.
Yes, he is balling, but I just feel like what the Hornets are doing is that they're winning. And that's the difference between balling and losing and balling and winning. You get recognized more. You dropping 30 and 40 points over there, but you're still taking L's. You don't get the benefits because it's like, how was that 30 and 40 points? Like, was it a sloppy 30 or was it like interesting 40 or did it even matter? Like, was you down by 20 and you just scored 40? But LaMelo has been balling for his team, and it just sucks to see. I don't like injuries. I don't like them at all, but it's a part of the game, and it sucks that it had to happen to him because he was on pace of doing some record-breaking numbers as a rookie. Now, as far as the Lakers, man, I felt like they was finding their stride. They had Schroeder and LeBron, and they had everybody else playing good for them. And now with LeBron's going out, this is going to be real rough for them. I really feel like they are going to struggle, but I think they will be okay. I think they're going to be a 500 team. I think they're going to win half the games without LeBron and lose half the games without him and AD. But I really feel like he got hurt at the wrong time. Mm-hmm. I think if I'm LeBron, I don't come back too soon because ankle injuries are nagging. Like, they are nagging. And so one little tweak here and there, and you could be out even longer. So don't rush your recovery mode. Just go there, support your team. This is an opportunity for the Lakers to identify who are those role players, who's going to step up for this team, who's going to be that guy to put the team on his back and carry us during these tough times, because I think that's going to help them in the long run in the playoffs, because all that matters is getting to the playoffs. Seeding is here or there, but it's about getting to the playoffs. And speaking of injuries, we talked about AD, but what I want to talk about too before we get into the trade deadline is Kevin Durant. He's been out just as much as AD, but we know AD has a calf strain that could be correlated with the Achilles. Kevin Durant supposedly have a hamstring injury, but he's been out for a very, very long time. So it's making me think, is it really a hamstring injury or is it something else? What are your thoughts, Reese?
Well, you play sports, and I've been around you now long enough to know you've tweaked your hamstring here and there. You know how it is with the hammies, man. It's kind of like the ankle. If you come back too soon, it can get worse before it gets better. So I just think they know they have James Harden, Kyrie, so there is no reason to rush it. I think they playing a long game, kind of like the Lakers, because Kevin Durant's a walking bucket. So once he's healthy, we ain't got to figure out how to get Kevin Durant involved. It's here, KD, go get it. It does bring the question, because we've talked about this and you've mentioned it, that when all three of them play, it's a little weird. So it does hurt the chemistry, and then, heading into the playoffs, trying to figure out that chemistry may become problematic. So that's where his injury hurts them. But overall, they're going to be able to stay afloat, because the way James Harden is playing as an MVP candidate, in my opinion, they're going to be okay. And they just not trying to rush it, just because, a hamstring strain can just linger. So, let him rest. They're going to stay within that 1 to 3 range in the East, and then he'll be back. And the only thing I worry about is their chemistry.
I hear you. And definitely when they're playing all together, it's going to be interesting to see how it works. We know when they was all on the court at the same time for a couple of games, they were struggling. They was trying to find their way. They had some good games. Then they had some games where they was going in a slump. And then when KD went out, and then, Kyrie gave the keys to James Harden, it just took over. The Nets have been going, and they've been doing a lot of great things. And James Harden is looking like an MVP candidate, even though nobody's really talking about my man James. James deserves some more respect because he's got game and he's doing a lot of things for that team. He's being the leader as the point guard. It's great to have scores, but sometimes you need somebody to take that other role and be a better player for your team. It's more than just scoring. It's helping other people score the buckets. But we're going to see how these injuries unfold because, again, you don't want to see injuries happen. You have Embiid, who's also who got injured, and God thankful that he didn't get MCL tear or something season ending. He's just going to be out for a little bit of time. So I guess get healthy to all y'all young bloods. Get healthy and come back ready to go because we love seeing y'all play basketball. But now that we got all these injuries out the way, Reasons, it's the trade deadline, and we got people who are not playing who probably should get bought out. Who should be making moves? If you are an NBA owner, what team should be making moves?
The Lakers. I'm going to start at the top of the list. I'm going to go to Lakers. This whole Drummond thing is interesting, something to watch out for because the Lakers and the Nets are battling basically for Drummond. And I don't like the Lakers. I'm not as confident if Drummond goes to the Nets. I'm just got to be honest with myself as a fan of the team. Drummond comes to the Lakers, I like it a little better. So the Lakers got to make some kind of move. It doesn't have to be something splashy, but getting the Drummond would definitely help out. And then also, I know I read today that JJ Redick may be on the buyout market. So a JJ Redick to the Lakers can be interesting. The Clippers, they got to get a point guard. Me as a Laker fan, I hope they don't because then, that just makes it easier as a fan for me to cheer against them. But they looking at trying to get a point guard. So you got talks of Lonzo Ball, George Hill, and other, point guards out there that can help them. Everybody else in the West can make a move, but I don't know how much it increased their chances. I feel like Utah ain't going to break up what they got going on. Denver, even if they make a move, doesn't really just put them over the top. Portland just got to get healthy. They just got CJ back. I know Nurkic is on his way back. So I think Portland's going to be, healthy. And then the rest of the West is just like, And in the East, obviously, Brooklyn still needs a big man, so I hope they don't get Drummond. Blake Griffin finally got a dunk, so that's interesting. The Sixers don't necessarily need to make a move. He just got to get healthy. The Bucks went and got PJ Tucker. So
which is a real big move.
That's a big move. The Pacers getting LeVert back can help them. So, it ain't too many teams that's got to make serious moves. Supposedly, but we know with the trade deadline coming up, there's going to be a lot of moves made. It's the NBA. The NBA trade deadline is something that you watch for. Like it's like Christmas. So that's kind of what I'm leaning to. What's your thoughts on the trade deadline? And
this is going to be a shocker to me and to everybody. It's a hot take bake.
Uh-oh.
I'm starting with the East first. I truly believe Boston needs to make a move. I really believe the Boston Celtics need to make a move because I don't think.
Let me ask you this: is it like a Jaylen Brown being traded kind of move, or is it like use some of them draft assets and bring in some kind of like? Are you talking blockbuster or are you talking Hollywood video?
Man. I'm talking blockbuster. Okay.
Ooh.
I think having Jaylen Brown and Tatum and Kemba sounded good, but it's just not looking good. They are struggling and they are in a decline. I thought Thompson would help them, but it's not helping. They're just not playing good basketball. And I really feel like they don't have an identity. They don't know who the superstar is because Jaylen Brown has been playing some great basketball, but the guy who they're giving the keys to is Jason Tatum. And it's no disrespect to Tatum. And then you got Kemba, who's just there. It's that third wheel. You got that date, and you got that guy that's just there. Don't have a date, don't have a role. You think he's supposed to give you some buckets. You think he's supposed to be the guy that to be the leader of his team, but he's not doing that, and he's not doing that as well if you would like him to do. And Kemba's always just been a bucket getter. He's never been a guy that's like, I'm going to get people involved, I'm going to create for other people. He's always been about, I'm scoring points. And now that you try to put him in a box where you're trying to have him create, it's just not working. And you can tell that he has these spurts. That's why his game, I feel like he has spurts, because he's going out there, one day he'll have like 20, 30 points. The next day he'd probably get like 8 or 9, and he'll struggle from the field because he's just not finding his place in Boston. So I really feel like they need to figure out maybe getting rid of I know they won't get rid of a Tatum, and I know they want to keep Jaylen Brown because of the defense, but one of them has to go. And then I really feel like Kemba and Tatum, or Kemba and Jaylen, can work out better, because now you got 2 people. You got 2 scorers. It's hard to have 3 scorers on a team. Somebody's going to get left out. And I truly feel like that's why Boston is struggling the way they're struggling, because the guy that they're giving the keys to, he's just is inconsistent. And the guy they brought in to help build that leadership, he's just not delivering. And the guy that's playing the best basketball, he's just not given a lot more opportunities to lead the team. They're trying to figure out who's going to be the face of that franchise, and I think they need to make some big changes. On to my West. As far as the East, we know the East is what it is. Shout out to Milwaukee making some changes to get PJ Tucker. I think that's going to be a good move for them moving forward. That can help a lot. But we know the Nets, they need a big man. I don't know if they're going to get one, but they could get Drummond. I think they don't want to have too many people. You don't want to have too many players, okay? You don't want to have too many, because if you have too many, then the chemistry can be a little bit out of control. And I don't think they want to do that. I think if they don't get a big man, they'll be fine with what they got. Don't try to do too much, okay? Just do enough. Do enough. Have the perfect balance. I think the Sixers are okay. Just get Embiid to be healthy. They got a lot of depth on that team. They'll be okay with that. But on to the West. This is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
This is where it gets interesting. I know the Lakers need another inside presence. Marc Gasol is not giving them what they thought they was going to give them. They thought he was going to be like the Jokic for the Lakers, a guy that can move the ball, score a little bit, play a little interior defense, but he just, I don't know. When you win the chip, sometimes people just ain't got the hunger no more. Sometimes you just, hey, I'm in LA. I'm enjoying a life. I ain't really trying to go out there and get no buckets. I'm okay. So I think Marc Gasol, it's not panning out how they thought they was going to pan out. And my man, Montrez, he's an up and down guy. You know, he's a high energy guy. You know, he going to take some charges, but he's still limited on his height. That's one of the reasons why they lost to Denver. He couldn't really provide a lot of interior defense for the Lakers. And so they do need a big man. I don't know if they're going to make a move and who they're going to trade or anything like that, but they do need a big man. Who else? The Clippers need a point guard. I truly believe Kyle Lowry would be a great point guard for them. I forgot all about Toronto. Toronto needs to ship Kyle Lowry out. They need to trade Kyle Lowry.
I just think that Pascal Siakam just got a $50,000 fine for comments directed to the coach after the loss on Sunday.
Exactly. I just think what's going on is that Kyle Lowry needs to go, because when Kyle Lowry was hurt, the Toronto Raptors was playing some great basketball, and a lot of people were talking about they was playing some great basketball. When Kyle Lowry came back, they went back into that slump. Something has to change. You know who needs a point guard? The Clippers. Because you know why? Patrick Beverley is just a rah guy. He's not a point guard. He can play some defense for you. He can come and play some defense for you. But you got Paul George and you got Kawhi Leonard. You need somebody who's going to orchestrate the offense. You can tell the Clippers and Kawhi is about to be on some, it's time to say goodbye, because I'm tired of dealing with the issues. You can tell he's frustrated. Even last night's game, when he shot a 3 and it was a go-ahead 3, you saw emotion from Kawhi. When do you see emotion from Kawhi Leonard? That man is emotionless, okay? And you saw this man because you could tell, like, these games are struggle wins. These are not like we beating people out the water. No, these games are struggle wins. And so they need a point guard. They need a sense of direction. I think Kyle Lowry fits that scheme perfect. He can play defense. He can get the offense involved. He's already played with Kawhi Leonard. He would be a great point guard for the Clippers. Will the Clippers make the move? I don't know. I don't know. And then who else needs to make some moves? Besides the Clippers, besides the Lakers, I think the Jazz are okay. They don't need to change anything. Phoenix are okay right now. They're playing great basketball. They have the perfect balance. CP3 is also an MVP candidate. You need to put some respect on that man's name. Everywhere he goes, he changes the team's camaraderie and he changes the records. I'm trying to think.
Dallas. What you think about Dallas?
Dallas is finding their strides. Luka is playing some great basketball. They're getting hot at the right time. Porzingis is now healthy, as we know. And Luka is he's about to be the face of this league. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the KDs. I'm sorry for the Kyries. Luka Doncic, mark my words, is going to be the face of this league in the next few years. Trust and believe. Luka Doncic, his game, he's not the most athletic, but he's just so savvy, man. And he got charisma, man. And he can play this game of basketball so well. Luka will be the face of the NBA. Trust and believe. He has the charisma. He has all those things. All he needs to do is work on his defense just a little bit and make timely stops. He don't even have to be a Kawhi Leonard. Just be able to make timely stops when you need it. That will go a long way. I'm trying to see, as far as the West, I don't really know who else really need to make the moves. I think it's pretty much, the Pelicans.
Oh.
I think they need to make a move with the Pelicans. I think
they talking Zoe and JJ possibly being bought out.
I think they need to make a move. I think Lonzo should move. I think he should want to move because going with Bledsoe, it's just not a good. I told you from the jump. They don't listen to me. I told y'all from the jump that Bledsoe and Lonzo was a bad chemistry thing. It was a bad connection. I don't know why they did that. 2 point guards. One can't shoot as well. Other one could create, but his struggles is shooting. Mm-hmm. Why you got them on the same team? Okay? And why when Lonzo find his stride, you try to kick him back? So I think him going to another team will help him. I think those are the teams I feel like that really needs to make a move ASAP. And so that's how I feel.
I agree. What do you think about a LaMarcus Aldridge to Boston before they do a big-time trade? Because, LaMarcus is looking to be bought out by the Spurs. Do you think a LaMarcus Aldridge kind of helps solidify what they got going on to at least get them through this season, and then they can probably evaluate something major in the offseason? Because I look at it like this. A trade scenario that's crossed my mind, if they can try to pull it off, is get Lonzo to Boston, get Kemba to the Pelicans, some kind of swap of that nature. Because now, like you said, you got a facilitator. Lonzo not looking to score like that, but he can pass the rock, and he's still pretty solid on defense. So you pair Lonzo with Jalen and Marcus Smart and Tatum. Now you got a guy that's just going to facilitate, get everybody moving and all that kind of stuff. You bring Kemba over there with the Pelicans. Now Zion got a guy that he can run pick and roll with, and now Kemba's back in his role and just scoring kind of how he was with the Hornets. You feel me? And he can still be competitive. It's not like he's dropping off to where that team's not competitive. So it'll be him, Zion, and Ingram, and they can kind of work it like that. What's your take on that right there? What about a move like that? Even at the trade deadline, I mean, it can happen in the next couple of days. But I think that kind of swap will benefit both teams.
I think that's amazing. I think that's genius, actually, because those two players can fit their teams perfectly. I think that'll help Boston. I really do. I really feel like Lonzo going to Boston, being a creator for the Jalen's and the Jason Tatums, because they're not necessarily creators like that. And Kemba, not a creator like that. He's a scorer, all right? He's a scoring guard. You got Lonzo, who's a straight point guard, who's looking to distribute that ball, and he can make Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown jobs a lot much easier. They don't have to do all that. No, they can come off screens, hey, and get the ball where it needs to be. And then Lonzo likes to push the tempo. I think Aldridge can help them. You know, it don't hurt to have a veterans on his team. It's just, you know, you don't know what Aldridge you're going to get. You know what I mean? We got the Portland Aldridge. We got the Aldridge in the Spurs when he was at his peak, but we don't know what Aldridge we're going to get. You know, he is coming off an injury. He could come off the bench or, you know, he could start. But you don't need a lot. You just need the right pieces to work, right? I think just swapping Kemba for Lonzo would be a good move because now the Pelicans got another scorer that's going to get buckets, and he can help make it easier for Zion and Ingram, right? Now you got a scoring point guard that y'all really want because Bledsoe's, no disrespect to Bledsoe, he's not that, okay? He's not that. Like, he's just, you don't know what you're going to get from Bledsoe. And Lonzo, he's not a scorer like that. He's a distributor, but they don't let him do what Lonzo do. They don't let Lonzo be Lonzo. And I think if he goes to Boston, that's actually pretty good. Man.
Hey, man. Hey, listen, man. You know me, man. I'll be in my bag, man. So when just looking at the landscape of the league, I feel like that benefits both teams. I feel like it's just one of those moves that could be made that can help. And then Danny Ainge can finally pull the trigger on something and stop being afraid. Right. He's been living in this, I'm going to collect assets, but he's not pulling the trigger to really make the team better because he said it early in the season. We're just not that good. So you being a general manager, looking at your team not being good, what are you doing to try to make them good? You got to look at teams like the Nets that are going all in. You got to look at the teams like the Bucks that are going all in. You got to look at a team like the Sixers that went and got Doc, that went and made some moves, got rid of Horford, you know, to try to structure the team to be better suited for them to try to go win a ship. Meanwhile, Boston is like, we're just going to stay intact. And staying intact, they getting passed by. And they built up too much promise to now be one of the teams that we're looking at like, all right, y'all okay. You know, y'all not nothing to be all excited about, you know, or even, I know they probably won't do it, but a Kemba for Kyle Lowry. Just somebody to help that situation out. And so, you know, there's some moves that need to be made. I'm curious to see how this works out. I really can see a George Hill possibly going to the Clippers to help stabilize that point guard situation because George Hill is a solid point guard. He's going to do exactly what's needed. He's going to play defense. He's going to run the team. And, you know, I think that'd be a solid move for him, you know.
Big fact. But before we get out of here, man, want to leave us with this. Who's your hot teams right now? Who's on the radar? Who's on the radar in your opinion? And then who's on the decline? Who's on the cold on cold? Who's on the ice cold radar? So who's going up? Who's going down? Give me two teams. One going up, one going down.
Team I got going up is a team I believed in from the beginning, Atlanta Hawks. Nate McMillan, who to me should have been fired in Indiana, but that's a whole nother story. He got them young boys playing. They are currently on an 8-game win streak coming out of the All-Star break or head even into the All-Star break. He got them moving into the 5th seed. So I got them on the up and up. And unfortunately, I got the Golden State Warriors on the decline. And it's just, you know, they don't have Clay. And I mean, Draymond Green came out and said in his opinion, he's the best defender ever to play in basketball. And I'm like, that's cool. But offensively, you are, to me, Kwame Brown. Like, you ain't no real better than him. You can pass the ball, but you're not giving that team nothing to be real excited about. Like, you just a very expensively paid role player.
Wow.
And that's just how I see it. No, you know, it's no real disrespect, but that's just what it is, bro. Give
Draymond some credit, man. Draymond
I'm saying he's a very high-paid role player. That's just what he is.
He's a heart, and he's a facility. He makes Steph's job easier.
And making his job easier is not equating to a lot of wins.
So those are your two teams?
Yeah. So I got the Hawks going up, Warriors going backwards.
My two teams on the East is the Milwaukee Bucks. They are on a 7-game win streak, and they are 9-1 in their last 10 games. Last 10 games, they've been balling. They're getting back healthy. They added some additional pieces to that team. That is a team people need to worry about. We've been talking about Philly. We've been talking about Brooklyn. But that, if I'm Milwaukee, I want to stay under the radar. I don't want all that stuff because I want to do it when it matters. We always been on the radar. Everybody always talked about us during the regular season. We get in the playoff and we end up getting eliminated. Nah, let's go under the radar and let's shock the world. When everybody's going for Philly and Brooklyn, this is an opportunity for us to steal the show and go to the NBA Finals for the very, very first time. Now,
first time we got.
Giannis, you get what I'm saying, for the very first time in a while. Come on, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, people are coming in back talking about, hey, you gonna forget about when Kareem and Oscar Robertson won the championship. So I just didn't want you to be out there, and you got the old heads coming for you.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. And who's on a decline? And it hurts to see it, and they haven't really got on a climb. It's the Houston Rockets, man. The Houston Rockets, they had so much promise this year. They did. You was like, they could be a contender. Christian Woods, PJ Tucker, Cousins, and my man John Wall on the same team with my man Oladipo. You thought that was at least a contender? And they're looking like a pretender right now. They are struggling. They are 1-9 on their last 10 games, and they just won their first game against another team that if I had to pick another team, it's the Toronto Raptors. So it was the battle of the struggles. So if they beat the team that was struggling as well, they can't be the struggles of struggles. You got to give it to the Houston. No, I take that back. I got to give it to the Toronto Raptors. They lost to the Houston Rockets, and that was the battle of the struggles of struggles. And so since you lost to the struggling Houston Rockets, you go have to be the worst team on a decline right now, and I truly believe that.
But I mean, Houston had just came off losing 20 straight. Toronto's in the midst of losing 8 straight now or something to that effect. So they both looking bad. But Houston problem, they lost Christian Wood. And they basically lost every game after he got hurt.
Facts.
That's just kind of how that was, because that young man was balling.
Big ball.
And when he got hurt, they lost every game after that. And now that he's back, I think they 1-2. So, he makes a big difference. I forgot all about the Raptors. That's how far from grace they have fallen. That I didn't think about them declining, because
big fact.
They never had a climb. You got a climb to have that.
They was doing all right. With Kyle Lowry,
but it was never like a climb, like, ooh, they were the Raptors. It was like they was right here. Because they were like a 500 team. And when you lose 8 straight,
Kyle Lowry get hurt, you start winning. Kyle Lowry come back, start losing. There's a disconnect in that locker room, and I know what the battle is, and we'll talk about that moving forward. But that's all the time we got. Y'all let us know in the comments below who needs to make a change, who's the teams that's doing really, really well right now, and who's the team that's on a decline. We'd love to find out. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Hey, man, do your best, man. Stay safe in these streets. I'm one of the rare people, or I wouldn't say rare, but I'm one of those people that have when he got vaccinated. So I'm always promote doing what's best for you. But, that's just what that is. So just, use these airwaves to say that everybody ain't out to get us, people, because I know that's how we feel. So
Big facts. And I got 2 more weeks to get my second doses or whatever. So,
me too. I go on the 8th. When you go?
I go on the 6th.
Oh, boom, we right there, bro.
We're right there. We're right there, man. But if you can, do it. If you don't want to, can't force you to. But always remember to stay safe, stay blessed, and talk that talk. We out here. Peace.